Trump had another rally, Mosinee, Wisconsin. And man, as we get closer to the election, he is simply getting more and more unhinged by the day. Now, I know we're sort of used to Trump telling a lot of lies. The media sane washes everything he says. But I pulled 6 things from this speech that are literally the most insane things Trump has said yet. Either lies that he's telling or absolutely batshit policies he wants to implement. I mean, he is out there. Here's reality. Here's Trump. He is so far out of bounds. Frankly, I'm starting to worry about what things are going to look like if he somehow wins this election, which I don't think he will. Let's get into it. Here are 6 of the craziest of the crazy.
Indoctrinate America's youth with all sorts of things that you don't want to have our youth hearing. Ultimately, we'll live, and you know what we're doing here. I say it all the time. I'm dying to get back to do this. We will ultimately eliminate the federal Department of Education and send education back to Wisconsin and back to the states. We'll send it back to the states.
Dude, that's crazy, dude. Get rid of the Department of Education. I feel like that would be horrifying because look at what some of these states shit that they've already done. You know, getting rid of like African American studies, banning books from libraries. You have 2 states now that are putting the 10 Commandments in the Bible in schools. Can you imagine if the federal Department of Education was gone? So that means there's no protection federally for the students. The states can go apeshit. States could require kids to recite Bible passages every day, and you'd have no way of stopping them. You know what I'm saying? Like, insane shit. How many states are going to get rid of, like, gay and lesbian student clubs and shit like that? You know what I mean? You know it's coming, right? You know a lot of states would go in there and revamp their education programs in extraordinarily toxic and non-inclusive ways.
But he even signed, Tim, even signed a law that allows abortion in the 9th month and babies to be executed after birth. In other words, a baby is born.
Still lying about that.
And what do you do? The mother decides she doesn't want the baby. You execute. That's not an abortion. That's an execution. And nobody wants that. There are 6 radical left states that allow that, too, that nobody wants it to happen. Nobody wants to see it happen, where they're allowed to execute the baby after birth, and nobody talks about it.
Execute the baby.
You know, we did a great thing.
Yeah, nobody talked about it because it's not happening.
Out of the federal government, got it back to the states, and now this.
Right, executing the baby. Oh, this is the one, dude. Watch this one. This one is crazy. This is some insanity here. We're talking like this guy's so far out in the weeds, bro.
Can you imagine you're a parent and your son leaves the house and you say, Jimmy, I love you so much. Go have a good day in school. And your son comes back with a brutal operation. Can you even imagine this? What the hell is wrong with our country?
Dude, you hear that? Your son goes off to school and you're like, I love you, Jimmy. And he comes home and he's had a brutal operation. Of course, he's referring to transgender, implying that your kid leaves the house and comes home with a transgender operation, something that has never happened anywhere in the world, ever, right? Oh my God, dude.
We just got the endorsement of the biggest police group in the country, and
dude, the cops are the only people that endorse Trump. No labor unions do. Not a single labor union. Not the casino and hospitality workers in Nevada. Nope. Even though he owned a casino, the casino workers union doesn't support him. The auto union doesn't support him. Even the Teamsters union doesn't support him. One guy in the Teamsters likes him, but the union doesn't support him. None of the labor unions, none of the filmmaking unions, not a single one. The only unions that support Trump are the cops. And why? Because he's promised them complete immunity. Complete immunity. And think about this, though. Think about what it would mean, guys, if your local police had a blanket complete immunity. Think about what that would look like. It is horrifying. Like, you've seen videos of cops, you know, feeling women up or having sex with women in their squad car. A cop could pull a woman over, put her in the back of his car, rape her, and then let her go. And there would be nothing she could do to that cop. A cop could be upset that you, like, turned your back on him, and he could blow you away for whatever reason. Put a gun in your mouth and pull the fucking trigger, and you would be able to do nothing to them. Can you imagine? I cannot even imagine what that would look like. Like, it's hard now, even with the low level of transparency and the low level of accountability that we demand of police officers as it is. It's crazy. Proving police misconduct, they usually investigate themselves. And then even if you do prove it, there's often no criminal charges. You may get a civil judgment, but that gets paid by the taxpayers. So then the city goes without funding for their schools or their roads or their parks or whatever because they're paying off the civil things. And if the guy does get in trouble, then he just quits and goes and gets a job at a different police force. Like, the thought of police having complete and unconditional immunity is literally one of the scariest things on the planet. The most frightening thing that I think possibly that could happen. Because at that point, police could start engaging in wildly, you know, like, what happens when the cops decide to round up all the gay people or round up trans people and take them off to detention camps? What are you going to do? They have immunity. You can't do anything. You try to stop them, they kill you. Immunity. You get nothing. Think about that, dude. It's so frightening. Okay, here we go.
I better win, or you're going to have problems like we've never had. We may have no country left. It may be our last election. You want to know the truth? People have said that. This may be our last election. You got to get out and vote. This could be our last election. It'll all be over, and you got to remember, I don't want to say this because they say it's braggadocious, but if you look at the record, it's true. Trump is always right. I hate to be right. I hate to be right. I'm always right.
Dude, he's always right. He hates to be right. All right, here we go.
Build a missile defense shield around our country. Keep critical race theory and transgender insanity the hell out of our schools. And we will keep...
First off, right there is really interesting because there is no critical race theory in public schools, all right? That is like an upper level college course. If you went to law school, you would study critical race theory. But a lot of these kids in public schools aren't even learning how to read and do math well, much less, you know, grasp those high-level law school concepts that aren't being taught there. And, of course, the anti-trans stuff gets a huge set of applause from these fucking people, right? From these tiny-ass, all-white, nasty-ass middle rural Wisconsin. Transphobia.
The hell out of our schools. Gender.
It's so brutal, dude.
Insanity the hell out of our schools. And we will keep men out of women's sports.
There's no men in women's sports.
Did you see the Olympics? You had two boxers that transitioned.
No, you didn't. There were no transitioned boxers. The two boxers that were in there are both women, one of whom is suing a bunch of people for saying this shit. Man, I wish she would sue Trump too. But look at this, though. You have a presidential candidate that is lying about women boxers and saying that they're transgender. And he's openly lying about it on live television and in front of thousands of people to stoke transphobic hatred. But he's not being truthful. Those women are not trans.
From men to women, I wish them well.
No, they're not. They're not trans.
Build a missile defense shield
right?
around.
Isn't that